Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? All right, let's see here. Let's get. Give me just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put out a link for the gold members. Today is 5/28/25. How are y'all doing tonight? It has been an absolutely extremely crazy busy day. Gold member on camera link. Okay. All right, all right. Hey, tonight is going to be a bit of an open forum. What I've got going on is you're paying for this, right? You pay a subscription for silver or gold subscription. I really appreciate your money. It helps me out a lot. It covers one of my bills, and I'm grateful for that. And so in the chat, I'm going to encourage user participation, viewer participation. Let's talk about the things that questions you have, the things that you want to know how to do in the software. See if I can show some of those things depending on how, complex or easy it is. But let's just, kind of try to answer some of your questions. But also at the same time, I want to talk about the... Hey, Ronald, how you doing? I want to talk about your or the new 12.5 that came out, right? So I don't know a lot about it now. I literally just installed it 2 seconds ago. Like literally, I literally just installed it right before I hit start. That's why I'm running 3 minutes late. But Roger Brown, Kurt, Doug Fushi, hey. Ron Bishop, Ronald Say, good to see you, Ronald Say, and thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're all doing well. If there's other people hiding in the background, jump in on the chat, say hi, and all that wonderful jazz. I got JR with me tonight, live. And JR, how you doing, bud? You're live. How's things going?
Hey, Lenny. Good.
Yeah. All right. Let me get really quickly. Let me get my earpiece connected so there's no echoes or anything on my end. Give me a second. Did I? Hold on. Let me see if my earpiece. Yeah, my earpiece connected to the wrong device. Give me just a second. Wonderful. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, JR, how's things going with you tonight, bud?
Going good, Lenny.
Good.
Good.
All right. Well, tonight we're, like I said, you probably heard in the background, but just kind of an open forum. I want to talk about the things that you guys and girls want to learn. I want to try my best to answer questions. Rather than coming up with a subject. Today is a busy day. I couldn't come up with a class, off the top of the dome. So I thought, you know what? You guys are paying for this, so tell me what you want to learn. Let me see if I can help, maybe show some things and point in the right direction. But also at the same time, 12.5 just came out, and I literally just installed it, watched a little bit of Becky's video on some of the changes, and it's a lot of it just a little nutshell. A lot of the changes are the 3D view, in version 12, we can now work in the 2D view and the 3D view. Well, a lot of stuff is now happening. We can do guidelines in the 3D view. We can, work with trimming, trimming vectors and stuff and things in the 3D view as well. Now we can work with text and fonts in the 3D view as far as, text and fonts and stretching and skewing and rotating and all that stuff, which we couldn't do just, in version 12, but now we can. And there's many more. There's a lot of other things. They got a laser photo sketch now, just like the sketch carving that came out in 12. Now there's one for the laser as well, laser sketch carving, and just quite a bunch of stuff. And I didn't get a chance to watch all of Becky's video to see what all the new changes are. So we'll kind of, explore those. We'll look at those tonight and things like that as well. So what I ask, like I said, I'm encouraging user participation tonight in the chat and everything. If there's something like, hey, I've been wanting to learn this, I've been struggling working with this or doing this, and I'm really not grasping that, whatever it is, right? As a group, if we can't come together and answer those questions and, work through some of those things and stuff and, see what we got, we go from there. Let's see here. I'm going to go with a 24, 18. All right, let's yes. Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at that, JR. I like Kyle's stuff. He's really good about that and everything. And then also at the same time, I will at the same time, once I go through, I'll probably end up releasing a little video on my take on the new stuff and everything. But usually, Kyle and Garrett from IDC Woodcraft, usually they're on it, and then also Mark Lindsay and everything. So good. Thanks for that note and everything. Really. Even though Kyle's my competition, I like him a lot, Kyle. But he does pretty good. He does really good stuff. So let's switch over to let me share my screen, my entire screen, and let's put JR and I down here at the bottom. There we go. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Again, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, please participate. Think off the top of your dome. What is it that when you're in your shop that you're working with, or when you're sitting down at your computer and you're designing, it could be the most basic stuff or it could be the most advanced stuff, whatever it is. We could play a game, try to stump Laney, right? We could, see if I can, if I can't figure it out, or if I can't show you how to do something or whatever. But if there's something you're struggling with, or anything, please throw it in the chat, and let's I'll do my best to see if I can clear up some things for you as well and stuff, and everything. Has anybody watched? I don't know if y'all saw me live last week, last Friday, or what was it, Thursday? The public class, and I gave a shout out to Brooks Martin. He did like a Bigfoot, Sasquatch type modeling and stuff. I want to watch that video so bad. In the chat, if anybody's seen that yet. And I'll give me your insights, give me some tips, let me know what I'm looking forward to or whatever. But I really want to see that because I can't sculpt animals. I have a hard time with features, people and features and stuff. I have a whole team that are beautiful artists. They do wonderful jobs and everything on the models that I can't do. And the models I can't do anything with human or animal features. So there's quite a few videos out there on anatomy, and unfortunately I just haven't taken the time to learn it. All right, so 12.5 has come out, and no, and as a matter of fact, JR, are you on that yet? JR, are you on the update?
Yes.
Yeah,
on the big machine.
Yeah, okay. So I haven't made it public yet. So JR just asked me a question about Planet CNC, which is a controller program that we use. I haven't made it public yet, or the new changes and everything public yet, because I'm working on, hopefully within the month, I'll have a limit switch kit and stuff that'll be available for the smaller machines, Mini Carver 2440 and all, that will really give them the advantage of all the new stuff. But homing and all that stuff and everything. But that I'm actually making videos right now, literally just filming videos over the last couple of days on the new release of Planet CNC and the new changes, so that when I do make it all public and downloadable off our website and all that stuff, you know, and everything, they have videos on how to install it, what this feature is, what that does, what that button does, all that stuff. Because right now it would be like having to almost having to relearn everything again. So anyway, so that's a great question. I want to create a circular spiral 11 inches in diameter where the wall between the spiral channel is 1/4 of an inch. I did the spiral gadget and got an 11-inch spiral, but couldn't vary the wall thickness. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the spiral gadget for just a moment, and just kind of get a little bit of an understanding. And I just installed 12.5. Let me install a new gadget, because let me see if I can get, am I missing the spiral? Because I might have to go back to my 11.5 for that. Let me see here. Keyholes there. Okay. Let me go to gadget shortcuts. Oh, you idiot. Not that gadget shortcuts. Let me go to about gadgets. There we go. Click on this. All right, you're about to see how to install a gadget. So let me see here. We're gonna Skype for Business don't enable. I don't want that. I don't want Skype for Business because Skype is dead. It's no longer there. All right, let's see here. We are gonna go with the drawing, circle, resize, and then the spiral gadget. All right, on the spiral gadget, let's go ahead and download the gadget. And let's hit save. When it's finished, open. I don't want to open, you goofball. I want to install. Let's go back to Vectric. Close this and click on Install New Gadget. Go to Downloads. And click Open. Click Agree. And a new gadget is now in your Gadgets menu. Now, you don't have to restart the program. It should automatically download. You don't have to restart or none of that stuff when you're doing that. And you know what's crazy? Real quick, Kurt, to sidetrack for a minute. Oh, the gadgets library. It's getting smaller and smaller because they're starting to add all those gadgets. The ones that are really good and all, they're already kind of like a default in the software now, or they've added the toolpath to do that, or they've added that function and everything, because the gadget is kind of like the user's way of creating something. We can create these gadgets and things, then they end up getting implemented in. So that gadget library, it's getting kind of more and more obsolete and stuff like that. All right. So now the thing with the gadget is, let's talk about logarithmic, Archimedes, envelope, and golden, such as the kind of the golden ratio and stuff. Let's talk about these for a minute. Now, I'm going to, let's go about center of my board. Let's go 11 on the X, and I have 18. Let's go 9 on the Y. Anchor point, we'll center it right there. And then on this, we're going to do an 11-inch in diameter. And what did you have? 11-inch diameter wall. You didn't really specify the times around, right? Just kind of the width, right? And so let's say that we're going around. We'll step over from one for every rotation. So we'll go 11 times around. And then arbitrary is only used with logarithmic or involute spirals. So right now we'll just set that at 2, and we'll click apply. And so I want to look at this logarithmic spiral. So that is definitely not going to give us that. That's more of a seashell type, conch, type spiral. Now, if we look at the Archimedes type spiral and everything, that one is going to give us that more symmetric where they're spaced evenly and everything. We're going 11 times around, 11 times out. The Archimedes is going to probably be the one that's going to best fit your bill for what you described in the chat. If we do the involute, again, involute also the same thing. The only difference with involute versus Archimedes, let's go back and look at Archimedes here. You see that center point, right? That center point there where it's like literally from our anchor, it's kind of, going around and getting out. Well, the involute, when we apply that, the involute is kind of almost, it's off center. So it's rotating around our center point, but the spiral's not connecting there. It's kind of starting at a certain, a particular, this 2, right? I believe that 2 is kind of like 2 spirals out, start. That's where you start kind of thing. And the one way we can find out about that is we'll change this number to 1 and click apply and see if that makes any adjustment. Let's go back to the Archimedes here. And let's go back to the involute, see if that makes any difference. No. So arbitrary that's not what I was thinking that it was. Where it would start 2 rows out, but it is going to start out from the center. It's not going to pivot from the center. So the involute, and then the golden, let me set this back to 2 just as the default, but the golden ratio and everything, again, that's the golden ratio. It's going to be that more that spiral. So your logarithmic and your golden are going to be that, the logarithmic is going to be more of the seashell. The golden is going to be kind of more based on the golden triangle and everything based on that, that rectangle box and all that wonderful stuff. And all. So Archimedes is going to be probably the main way to go, but also involute is going to give you, but involute, if we notice here, if you notice something, let's look at involute again. The space in between each of these gets smaller as we come in, right? Versus the Archimedes, where the spaces are going to be kind of, pretty much equal distance. Okay. I don't know, Kurt, if that answers your question, but if you're doing an 11-inch diameter, depending on how many times around, like I'm going 11 around, so it's kind of a consistent line. And then let's close this now. Here, Buddy Rowe, your wall thickness, right? You were talking about like wall thickness and stuff like that. Now, if I have a bit cutting on the line, right, it's gonna create, when it cuts on the line, the wall thickness is going to be half the bit. Let me say a 1/4 inch end mill. Let's go with a 1/4 inch diameter, 0.25, right? Okay, and that was a stupid way to do that. 0.25. Let's try that again. 0.25. Okay, so if I have a 1/4 inch end mill, 1/4 inch here, my wall thickness is going to be when I'm cutting on the line, my wall thickness, of course, is going to be the space between where the bit's cut, right? And so no, JR, we're not mentioning that at all. No, we're not mentioning the limit switches to 1. Because that's not a digital wood carver thing. Those are going to be sold and provided by Build It TV LLC, my company. So it's not a digital wood carver. It's a third party add-on.
Roger, Roger.
When we are doing, like if you need to vary your wall thickness, now one of the things that you can do, I don't know if it really actually helps or not, but you could, offset in both directions. Let's say I offset, 1/8 of an inch in both directions and everything, and I can create kind of an area depending on my offset, right? I can close off the two ends and everything, and I can create kind of a pocket cut instead of a profile on the line. And how wide I do my offset is going to kind of determine my wall thickness here. And if I went smaller, of course, I would use a smaller end mill, right? An 1/8 inch end mill, I could go in smaller to increase that wall thickness, right? So that's an option too, right? That's about the only answer I have for you on that particular topic, Kurt H. So I don't know if that's useful to you at all. We'll see. Okay.
Can you cut that, Laney?
What's that? Can I
Can
what?
you, can you cut this path and then take a look at the side view of it?
Can I cut the path?
Yeah, do a sim now.
Oh. Sorry. As a profile or on the line or what?
Either
We'll
one.
just do. Okay, so we'll do the center one. Let's go. We'll just go 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch end mill. Let me select my 1/4 inch end mill because that's the generic one from the new download I just did. So 1/4 inch end mill on the line. Calculate. Preview the visible tool path. And hold on. Do you want to do a side view? I mean, you want me to cut it in half so you can see the side view?
Yeah, it's
Right, hold on a second. Let me do this. Bear with me. Hold on a minute. Profile cut 0.75, 1/4 inch end mill on the line. Calculate. Preview the visible tool path. Delete that. All right.
so it only gives us basically a flat spiral. So if I wanted
Yeah.
to
Yeah. If you want it to be rounded at the bottom, use a ball nose bit.
no, I'm looking for the Z height.
The Z height here.
Yeah, from the top to the
Okay.
bottom. Say my piece
So that's
is 4 inches.
well that Z height right there is based on the depth that I cut. I cut it 1/8 of an inch deep. Sorry, right here, this one. So my cut depth, that's from the top to the bottom. It's an 1/8 inch deep.
Okay, but the spiral gadget is only basically making a flat one depth cutout.
Yes. Oh yeah. Hold on. Are you thinking you thinking like a tapered screw type of
Yep.
thing? Because I know you were dealing with tapered screws and all that stuff. No, this is just a straight profile. Okay. It's just a straight profile in your pocket cut. So it's not going down as you go. One of the things, JR, for that and everything, I believe, did we not, was it last week's class we talked about G code? Were you around last week, JR?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were around. But let me go here really quickly. Bear with me. It's in Documents, Planet CNC Master, Shortcuts. Pick a shortcut. It doesn't matter at this point. Run that. Click yes. So, in the event of, let me do this really quickly. Help. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Come on, dude. Close that. Help. G code. Let's go to G code. And spiral. We could do a quadrilogic spline, but let's just do this one for right now. Copy. All right, so I'm just gonna right now get me started. Just paste this right here and everything, and let me turn this up on its side. All right, now, so let me tilt this a little bit. I don't want the bottom half, so let me get rid of all that. There we go. I just only need one spiral. Jared, when you're, when as far as the taper and everything, currently right now, this particular wraparound, let me stand it straight up. Give me just a second. This particular wraparound is going from my base of 0, 0, X, Y, Z, 0 is in the bottom center, right? And it's stepping over 30 millimeters. Now I'm in millimeters right now. That's because just quickly what that example is, but it's stepping over 30 millimeters. And then from there, it's stepping up a certain amount. So this blue right here. So if I highlight this line, you'll see the red. It's stepping up it's going to 60, and it's saying, hey, from 0, go up 60 millimeters and wrap around twice. That's P2, right? So it wraps around twice. And then it goes up another 60 millimeters, right, to 120, and it wraps around twice again, 1, 2. And then it goes, to 165. It doesn't kind of make that full second wrap, but it wraps around twice again, 1, 2, right? And so that wrap, P2, however many times you're spiraling around, if I change this number, just as an example, and then we'll start talking about the taper, but if I change this number in the edit, let's say I change this and I want it to wrap around, 10 times, right, in that distance. And so when I refresh that, now it wraps around 10 times in that distance, right? So it's spiraling around. And in the event of this being this is a threading tool path, a normal thread, a straight thread, right? Well, if I was doing a tapered thread, which is kind of, that's a unique thing in itself. I really never in my life, I've never seen one, so I'm not familiar with it. But what you would do is you would change the center point, and how far you're it's stepping over, right? So it's, from here, when it leaves this second line, let me get up here and select it up here. When it's here, it's still over at this far, right? And so if I came over here and I said to step over let's say start at X0, right? So I'll edit this to X0 so it doesn't step over. And then in the next line, I tell it to, I want to use 0.30. I want to use 30 as I need to go. This is going to be a little bit different. So it might have to give me a second because it might have to. It steps over from where it was. If I go -30, it's going to come back over here. And that might be acceptable. So let me rephrase that. No. Okay. So that's not going to happen. So give me a minute. I need to go to X0. And then here I need to go up. I need to step over to X30, Z60. Does that do it for me? No. Hold on a minute. I got to get on the right line. X0. I should do it backwards, but X0, G02, X30. Oh, let me get a space in there. X30. And then, what does that do for me? I don't think think that's going to let me do it that way, JR. Give me a second. No, it's not going to let me. All right. I have to find out what the rotation point is, you know, from to rotate down to a cone. I'll have to find that out and, you know, write the numbers based on that. Jared, it'll be something I can work with you on, or I can show you guys next week or whatever. But it's not something I'm going to be able to think of right now because I got to be able to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Writing
Like I
the
said,
G
that's
code, but it's got to taper, and it's got to rotate. So that 60 degree, that negative 30, it's rotating around that center, but then it's still constantly rotating around that center, but the diameter is getting smaller and smaller and smaller all the way to 0. So I got to figure out that math. I got to figure out what that each line of G code is, that it gets smaller and smaller, that kind of thing. But that's, you know, that's going to be the only way you do it. There's no tool path. There's no spiral gadget. There's nothing that's going to give you that, you know, that appeal. You might be able to do a cone in Aspire as a 3D model and create that, you know, inner tool path, and that would do it, but that's about it. Let me see here. I would like to put a 1970 to 1980 GM truck square body on an American flag. Any pointers would be helpful. Roger Brown. All right, we can do that. If it win Vectric adds parametric programming, I'll be one happy camper. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, then there'll be 360. You know, Fusion 360 has that. Is there any way to calculate how big the offset to get the wall a quarter of an inch? Sure. Yeah. So on this, so let's look at the math here, right? So if I have, let me take a measurement here. Let's do it down here at the bottom where we're straight up and down, but kind of get in the center here. But if I have a vertical measurement, from here to here, you know, that's 2618 inches, right? Let's verify. Let's see how close we are to being, you know, the same. So it's a consistent number, right? 2618. Now that's with that using a 1/4 inch bit cutting right on the line. It's automatically going to give you that based on this 11 times around Archimedes spiral, right? It's going to give you that 0.2618 inches of space. So now let's do the math. We need to get down to 0.25, we need to lose 0.0118, right? And we need to divide that by 2, 0.0118. We need to divide that by 2, and that's how far the offset is going to be, because it's offsetting on each line, right? So if I come over here to the offset, let me get rid of these offsets real quick. Okay, if I come in here and I offset this, and 1/8 of an inch gave me that, right? But now I need to add half of that 0.0118, right? So if I come in here and say 0.0118 divided by 2 equals, and then I add that to that 1/8 of an inch, okay? And then I offset that where I should land, where math should take me. If I measure, let me find my center line here. From here to here, we should be at 1/4 of an inch, right? That would be your wall thickness. So Kurt, again, I hope that helps you out. right? I hope that answers your question. Okay. All right. So and then of course close off the ends, do it as a pocket cut, right? So that way the router bit, comes in and cuts against this wall and against that wall over here, clears that area out, and that leaves you with your 1/4-inch wall in between, the two parts, right? Righto. Okay. All right. Now let's step up our game a little bit. 1970, 1980 square body truck on a flag. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my job size. I'm going to go 38 by 20 and 5/16, 0.3125, 3/4 inches thick. I'm going to import a vector, and I'm going to import that from my E drive. Let me find my E drive. PMNOP master files, updated master files, 2440 is fine, VCarve cutting samples, US flag, DXF is fine. We'll import that in. All right, let's get rid of the Betsy Ross flag here. We're going to take this flag and center it on the board. Let's get the spiral. Let's move the spiral over here. All right, on this flag, we're going to select every other stripe, and we're going to move that to its own layer, or we're going to delete them, one of the two, because we only carved the white stripes. So let's get rid of the red stripes. Every other stripe, starting here and ending there. I'm just going to hit delete to get rid of those, and then I'm going to group together these white stripes. Let's just go group. G for group also. All right, now let's go online. Let's go online. Google's our best friend when we're looking for this kind of stuff. We are doing a 1970 and 1980 GM square body truck. So let's do a 1970 GM square body truck. Vector. Let's go images, and I don't know if we want a jacked up truck, standard body, old time, whatever the case may be, right? It's a 1969, so that falls a year short of what we're looking at. Let's for right now, let's just go with here's a 1970. That's that. Let's just go with this. K10. We'll just go with. We can go with that one, or let me see what all we got here. GM Chevy, is Chevy GM JR? Is Chevy was Chevy GM? Is that GM?
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure. Square body truck. Open image in a new tab. Now, for educational purposes, I would say go. That's a terrible image anyway. Never mind. I was going to say go buy that one, but it doesn't look good. Let's go. Come on, dude. Give me just a second. I'm kind of picky if I'm going to demonstrate this stuff. Let's see here. All right, we'll go with this one just for right now. Open image in a new tab. Let's save image as, and for right now, Chevy. Okay. All right, let's get out of that. All right, so in here, if we were to do this again, go buy the file. It's already a vector. You don't have to deal with tracing, none of that crap and all. This is just rough and dirty, educational purposes only, Fair Use Act under education. So all that kind of stuff, don't be stealing people's graphics. All right, here we go. I'm going to import that image. And let me hit the actual import image and all, and go to downloads. Open up this image. Come over here and zoom into it. Go into the trace bitmap tool. Turn it to a black and white. Slide the slide bar over to 70. I should have made my selection a little bit bigger. Turn the fading off. I only want oh man, I'm sorry. Well, let's do that again. I only want that. Turn the noise filter up, preview, apply, close. Get rid of that. Okay, now the bumper got cut off. It's a bad picture. It's not, you know, the greatest in the whole wide world, but it will carve for this purposes. Okay, so now you're going to bring it over to your flag. You're going to, you know, size it up to however you want to position it. Okay, so let me come in here and let's say I want this on the flag right here. All right, now here's the key to it all. We want to do an offset. We want to create a boundary to trim the stripes to. So on the truck here, I'm going to ungroup it for the moment, and I'm only going to select the outside vector, right? And in this case, the outside vector kind of stops, and it really doesn't go all the way around. So I'm actually going to select it all because the outside again, it's a bad photo. You know, I'm sure if you pay for it, the one that they actually give you is better and all that stuff, right? And we just snagged this for just a minute, but I'm going to offset this outward, and I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch. I like 1/8 of an inch offset. And on that offset, now all I care about is the outside line, nothing else. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to hold down my shift key and turn off that outside line and hit delete to get rid of all those other offsets, right? I don't want them. I just want that line, that outside line. Now I have a boundary to trim to. So I'm going to select my stripes first, my boundary last, and I'm going to use the trim tool to clear inside that boundary, and it's going to redraw the stripes around that boundary, right? Clear them out. Now that outside boundary that I used, delete it, don't need it no more. It served its purpose. So now I have a place, you know, here on the flag to carve. So I'm ready on this. Now there's one other thing I want to do on the stripes. I'm not going to do a border around my board. I'm going to have the stripes run all the way to the edge. So I'm going to go into node editing. And I'm going to take these outside nodes here, and I'm going to pull them out, and I'm going to type in 0.125 and hit enter. I just want to go out 1/8 of an inch so my bit goes just past the line to clean up, give me a nice clean edge there. Right? Same thing over here, the left side. I'm going to pull them out, and I'm going to type in 0.125 and hit enter. Just give me that 1/8 of an inch. That's it. All right, now I'm ready for tool pathing. So on the tool path, I'll go ahead and select all the stripes again. Let's get all the stripes. All the stripes. There's no stripe segments or anything that are missing or anything like that. I'm going to hit G to group them back together just for shits and giggles. All right, here we go. VCarve toolpath. I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch deep. I love 1/8 of an inch deep. I'm going to use a 60-degree V-bit, like a 60 on this. And I'm also going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. So we're going to go with a 1/4 inch end mill, and I'm going to go with a raster back and forth like a printer. All right, I'm going to call this stripes, S-T-R-I-P-E-S, and I'm going to calculate that. That's going to give me my stripes here, and you'll notice when the stripes carve, it leaves that nice void in there for the truck to carve in, right? All right, my next tool path is going to be the stars. I'm going to select the stars. That's going to be a V-carve toolpath. Now, this is rinse and repeat, guys and girls. I don't care what that emblem is. It could be a truck. It could be a dog. It could be a dolphin. I don't care what that emblem is. It's the same steps. Create your offset, trim your stripes. It's the same. It never changes, right? Kind of thing. Now, if you have a spire, you can take it from here and you can do waves and all that kind of stuff. But stripes, no flat depth on the stripe, no clearance tool. Just calculate, or the stars, I mean, not the stripes, stars. And calculate the stars. All right, let's preview that visible toolpath. All right, so now we're at this point right here. So the last toolpath is going to be the truck. So we're going to select the truck vectors, all of them, except for, make sure none of the stripes are selected. All right, that's also going to be a V-carve toolpath. Now this one, I'm going to set a flat depth again. I'm going to go the same depth as the stripes, 1/8 of an inch. I'll use a smaller bit to get into any of the nooks and crannies. The 1/4 inch bit I'll just leave out, but I will use an 1/8 inch end mill on this one, 1/8 inch end mill, along with my 60-degree V bit. This will be the emblem, whatever it is. It could be whatever you want to call it. We'll just call it an emblem, and calculate. All right, preview that visible toolpath. All right, so now when I add some color to this, we'll just do a straight black on that, not like that. That's the wrong color. That's the surface color. That's new for 24-25. So really quickly, version V 12.5, they now have a surface color. Like if you're carving on boards that have a different color in the middle than the surface, you can now simulate that in the carve. I don't want a surface color of black. I want a global fill of black. There we go. That's what I want. So imagine, just so you understand what just happened there, imagine I had a board, that piece of melamine, right? And the surface color was white, let's say, and then the middle color was tan. I can simulate that now in 12.5. Understand, right? I can simulate that because now I have a surface color versus a global fill color, right? Kind of thing. And on the global fill, I can still change the material. Like in the middle right here, I could change that to oak, and I'd have that oak look under that melamine top, that kind of thing, right? Anyway, so that's new with 12.5. That's one of the new features. All right, let's get off of that in global fill so we can see what here. And so now we have a square body Chevy on a flag, right? And literally, it's 3 toolpaths. You import your, get your vector. Go buy a vector off of Etsy. They got some nice models there, or vectors, for $2 or $3. Get you a really nice one and all. Bring it in, offset the outside line. I love 1/8 of an inch offset. Use that offset to clear around the stripes. And then once that's done, your stripes toolpath, your star toolpath, and your emblem toolpath. It never changes. So you can watch this video. You can make notes on those 3 things over and over again. And it's rinse and repeat. Now, of course, if this was Aspire, which I am in Aspire, and you were making this into a model, then you would select your vectors and turn them into a model, right? Kind of thing. Except for the truck would still be a V-carve in there, would still be a V-carve, But that is a square body truck on a flag. Okie dokie, dokie dokie. All right, let's see what we have here. If and when Vectric adds parametric, we already went through that. Yes, that would be a cool thing. I'm using a channel to glue an LED rope. All right, nice. So a channel to LED rope, that's what your spiral is for. All right, Roger Brown, perfect. Thank you, Roger. I think you were the one that asked about the square body truck. Yes, it was fast, quick and dirty, but if you need the flag, I'll give you all the flag. Hold on, let's do that. Let's be nice today. So let's go here to my E drive. Go down to the P's, Planet CNC, P, Planet right there, PNC, PCN, master files, updated master files. We'll just go into one of these. That's fine. 60 degree. All right, we'll go the SVG and we're going to copy these. We will go to downloads, create a new folder, call it US flag vectors. Let me fix the word flag in just a second. Paste those two files there. FLAG. All right, so now I'm going to take and upload that to my Google Drive. Give me a second. Google Drive, Spindle TV files, drag that over to there. All right, open that folder. Come on now. Okay, there we go. Share. Everybody with the link can copy this. Go into bookmarks, Google download, direct download generator, paste. Oh, hold on a minute. There was an error. Oh, I got to zip this first. Give me just a second. Compress to zip file. All right, let's do that one. Okay, now let me share that. Sorry, guys and girls. Share. Anyone with the link, copy, delete, paste, generate, copy, and then in our chat, our class tonight, where are y'all at? Right there. We're going to throw it in the chat, paste the link, and there you go. All right, so there's two American flags. Those flags, there's an SVG and a DXF version of them. It's the current, these are proportionally perfect to the Constitution. Their standard size is 30 by 20 and 5/16. From there, you can scale. Don't stretch the flag. You can scale it up or down to whatever size you want, but keep the aspect ratio. It's proportionally perfect. And you have the current United States flag, and you have the 1776 Betsy Ross flag. All right. That's what those two files are in that download. You import that in, and then from here now, I can size this down to any size flag that I want, but don't stretch your flag. Scale it. Don't stretch it. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. There you go, man. All kinds of good stuff happening tonight. Okay, what's next, ladies and gentlemen? Anything? Anybody else? Anybody else have a question or have something that they struggle with, that they run into, they need some help with? While you're thinking and typing it in, let's talk about a little bit more about 12.5. So in 12.5, in the 3D view, here in the 3D view, we can do a lot more things now. I'm going to reset this back to the 3D view, a blank 3D view, and I'm going to turn on the vectors, and let's type some text as well. Let's type in Chevy. All right. So now in the 3D view, I can manipulate text just like I would in the 2D view. I can rotate it. I can do whatever. I can change fonts. I can do all that. So a lot of the enhancements that 12.5 has come out with is a lot of, being able to do a lot of work in the 2D view. If I right click, let let me get out of the text box for a minute. If I right click in the 3D view, let me see here. Bear with me. I got to turn them on first. Toggle on and off guidelines. They're on now. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So oops, that was not what I wanted to do. Oh, what am I trying to do here? Let me come in here. View guidelines. Guides visible. I should watch the video before I try to show this stuff. But let me see if I can get the guideline menu to pop up. I'm in the preview tool. I'm an idiot. Get out of the preview tool. There we go. Now I can work. It's when you got the preview tool open that you can't do nothing because it thinks you're previewing a toolpath. So close that tool. All right. I was wondering why my menus weren't popping up, but now in the menus and everything, guidelines, right? So we can insert a horizontal, a vertical, and a diagonal guideline now in the 3D view. So an angle guideline, and then in here, let's go up here. You can change the length and angle, or the position of it and stuff. Here's the angle, 45 degrees. So you can change that angle of the guideline. You can rotate it, here as well, but you can also type in the angle here. So you can now work with, all the layout stuff, right? All the layout stuff for guidelines, working with text and vectors, your selection tools, all that stuff now can be done in the 3D view, right? That's the big thing. Is you don't have to keep switching back and forth from 2D to 3D view. You can do everything in the 3D view if you wanted to, right? So they made it so much more dynamic. The active layer selection and select, we have, you can now, in the select tool, you can now select parts. Like if you have individual parts laid out and stuff, just like you select open vectors or closed vectors or duplicates or this or that, you can now select parts. Like if you have like a group of things that's a part, or however you want to classify it, but you can select that so you're not trying to select all the little pieces of that part and stuff. Yes, Roger S, I can. So that's one of the new tools. Another new tool is the laser, just like the sketch carve over here, right? Sketch carving. They've improved the sketch carving, by the way, toolpath. Not sure what they did to improve it, but they have. But now there's laser engraving sketch carving. So from the same, you can laser engrave on a model or a picture or a vector and things like that. So pretty cool stuff. Now we just got Roger S asked about doing a chamfer on a 3/4 inch thick board. Well, let's take a look at that from a side view for a minute. Let's pretend that this is my 3/4 inch thick board, right? And we know that if we do our 45-degree angle, let's go 45. Let me get to it. Ooh, come on, there we go. Space bar. Right, so this right here, 45-degree angle, that chamfer. Now there's two ways we can do that on a 3/4 inch board. Number one, we can use the chamfer toolpath and a 90-degree V-bit. Okay, so on the 90-degree V-bit, let's take this flag and all, and let's move that up there. And let's get rid of this guideline. Let's draw my 3/4 inch board. Okay. Now, on the board, let's say that I'm actually cutting this part out, and on the end, I need to do this chamfer, right? There's the old school method where we draw lines based on the cut that's going to happen and the pass depth, or we use the chamfer toolpath, the new school method. All right, old school method. Let's go back and look at this here. And imagine, if you will, use your imagination, that I've got a 90-degree V-bit. So let me get a 90-degree V-bit going on here. Okay. Now, that V-bit, let's say I'm starting at 0, right at the top of my board. Now, this bit is going to, come down and it's going to cut. And it needs to go down a certain depth and cut. And we're going to do it in 3 passes. We're going to do an 1/8 of an inch, 3 step overs, should I say, not 3 passes, 3 step overs. We're going to step over, and down a 1/4 of an inch cut, the next 1/4 of an inch cut, that's a 1/2 inch, and then the next 1/4 of an inch cut, 3/4, right? So if I come in here with a guideline, and I make a guideline, 2 of them, 3 of them, we'll do 3 of them, a 1/4 inch apart, right, for here. So my bit is going to be cutting down to this first pass, right, a 1/4 inch deep. Now, what I need to know is the step over, because my lines, I'm going to be doing a profile cut on the line for the first cut, 1/4 inch deep. That's going to make this first cut. But now, and let's hold down the control key and make a copy. Now my next bit is going to be coming from 0. It's got to come down to this pass, and it's got to step over, this far, right? And that step over from there to there, this is going to represent my next line on my board. And then my third line, hold down the control key, come down and kiss down here, grab it, kiss it right there. Let me make sure that all my bits are lined up with my board. There and there. All right, now the center of these 3 lines, if I come in here and, draw a line, and I draw a line, if I were to measure the distance between those lines horizontally from the center to center, it's a 1/4 of an inch. Center to center, 1/4 of an inch, right? So if this is my board, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to hit copy and paste. Let's do this. Copy and paste. And I'm going to move that pasted copy negative 1/4 of an inch to the left. Let's try that again. Negative 1/4 of an inch to the left. And then copy and paste. And then move that line negative 0.25. All right, so that's going to be my, let me make sure here, I need one more line. So that's my third line right there. So first pass, second pass, third pass. Now, of course, if I want to go shallower with the cuts, now this is the manual old school way, right? The chamfer tool takes care of all this stuff. But if I wanted to go an 1/8 of an inch per pass, right, then I'm going to have to, I always draw the side view. And my guidelines would be separated by an 1/8 of an inch per pass, not a 1/4. And then I would, draw a V-bit there, draw a V-bit on that 1/8 inch line, that 1/8 inch line, that 1/8 inch line. and I would measure between the center of those bits, and that tells me what my offset is. And just so you know, for a 90-degree V-bit, an 1/8 of an inch pass step is an 1/8 of an inch step over, so your lines would be stepping over an 1/8 of an inch. For a 1/4 inch pass step, that's a 1/4 inch step over. For a 3/8, it's a 3/8. So it matches, you know, they all match, right? Okay, so I'm doing 3 passes. I'm being aggressive here, 1/4 of an inch, 90-degree V-bit. But, you know, I can handle it. Now, one of the things that I may want to do if I'm doing this is I may want to bring an end mill in and do like, you know, a couple of shallow cuts, you know, to clear away some waste or whatever, but I'm not going to, right? So we're going to assume that this is our cuts right here. And this first cut is going to be a profile cut. It's going to go 0.25 inches deep. It's going to use a 90-degree V-bit. And also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, make your lines longer than your board piece. So bear with me just a second. 90-degree. Make your lines. Allow them to go just past the board a little bit because it's going to get cut out, but allow the bit to go past. All right, so one more time. So we're going to step down a 1/4 of an inch, 90-degree V-bit on the line. Calculate that toolpath. All right, preview the visible toolpath. Let's get rid of the color. That's our first pass. All right, now the second toolpath is going to it's going to step down a 1/2 inch, 0.5. Now it's taken passes, right? It's not doing it all in one pass. It's not that aggressive. You know, it's doing it in 3 passes and everything. But we're going to calculate. That was the same line. Let's do that again. Calculate that line. Calculate. All right, so that's going to make that next cut. Okay, and hold on a minute. I got to base it on, give me a second. Stand by just one moment. I need my bit. Where's the first line? Where's my first line at? Okay, let's do this again. One more time. So this one's going to be 0.25, but I need to use my 1/2 inch 90-degree, not my 3/8. So give me just a second. 0.25. My 3/8 is too skinny. I need my 1/2 inch 90-degree. Calculate. All right, reset that preview. Preview that toolpath. Wonderful. Now, one more cut. Profile cut, cutting a 1/2 inch deep. On the line, we're going to choose the second line. Calculate. Preview the visible toolpath. Okay. Third pass is going to go 3/4 of an inch deep. On the line, select the third line. Calculate. Okay. Preview the visible toolpath. Now, when we do the profile cutout, let's say we go here, profile cutout, cutting all the way through the material on the outside of the line with a 1/4 inch end mill. Calculate. Preview that visible toolpath. Get rid of the waste, and we have that, you know, 45-degree cut on the end of the board, right? All right, so that's the old school way. Now, Roger, now we have a chamfer toolpath that handles all that for us. So in the chamfer toolpath, all we need is one line, okay? And the line that we need is going to be the one at the end of the board. Now, you see these arrows? As soon as I open up the chamfer toolpath, we have these arrows that shoot out. The arrowhead points to the deepest part of the cut. Right? So the arrowhead is the deepest part of the cut. So that's going to tell us how we choose here. First of all, I want to choose a 90 degree bit. And with my 90 degree bit, I am cutting a total depth of 3/4 of an inch. All right, and notice these lines here. Like I said, the arrow points to the deepest part of the cut. Well, the deepest part of the cut is the end of my board, not way out here, the end of the board. So I need to be on, if I'm going to be on the inside of the line, I'm not sloping downward. I might be sloping upward, but no. Yes, that is pointing to the deepest part of the cut, but the shallowest part of the cut is the top of my chamfer, the top of my board. I'm on the wrong line, right? So I need to be on the outside of the line, and I need to be sloping upward. So the line here, so this inline, I'm sloping upward to my 0, right? So the deepest part of the cut is where the arrowhead is pointing. That's the 3/4 inch. To sloping upward to 0, right? So I need to be on that inside of the line. So I calculate tool path, and if we preview that tool path, it creates those same passes. It doesn't in passes. So if we look at that, just so you know, all these, passes and everything, it's taking those steps down, right? Those passes and all. But that's my cut. And then if I did the profile cutout, right, we end up with that same part. Either one, both get you from point A to B. One's old school, one's new school. The chamfer toolpath is the best way to go. Righto. 90 degree bit, cut a 45 degree miter on the end of a board, and or you can call it a 45 degree chamfer, but it's a miter. Whatever. Either one. All right. Okay. So Roger S., give me a thumbs up if that answered your question in the chat. Let me make sure we're good to go there. All right. See? Learning things that you guys want to learn. You guys and girls. So any other questions? Anything that you specifically want to know about? Jerry, you got something? You got anything besides I can't do the conical spiral. Jared's like, dang it, that's the only thing I want to learn right now. And you can't help me there. But I'll get you I'll write you a sample G code to see if that's something at least points you in the right direction. And then from there you can kind of, go from there. But I'll write you a sample G code that will create that conical thread. Now you got to think about, the only thing you got to think about is the bit itself, the threading bit, right? It doesn't get smaller as it goes down. So it's got to at least be the width of the diameter at the bottom of that threading bit, and then it can get wider as it goes up, but it can't come to a straight point because the bit can't fit if the bit can't fit.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So, anybody else got anything? All right. Let's take a look really quickly. So in the edit options of the software, there are some new options that you can set within the software. And what am I trying to say? You may have never looked in the general tab before to know what was original and what was new, but in the video that's in each and every one of your accounts, your Vectric accounts, at the very bottom of your account where it says hello or welcome your name, go down to the bottom, what's new in version 12.5 or 12.5 is out. Becky goes over the new options in here. And again, Kyle I'll give a shout out to Kyle. Learn Your CNC did a 45-minute video on all the new stuff in Jared just told me I haven't had a chance to watch it, but did a 45-minute video on what's new in Vectric 12.5. So check him out. Give Carl some love. Let's see here. Kyle. Not Carl, Kyle. The mostly they did change or enhance the sketch carving toolpath to make it a little bit more dynamic, and you can now work with the sketch carving toolpath in the 3D view as well as the 2D view. Most of their enhancements and everything are based off of working in the 3D view, that minimizing having to switch from one to another. Now, I'm hoping, JR, I'm hoping that this leads into that parametric thing, because if they're starting to now really get more and more into the 3D world, right? Then, then they can have that, that type of design environment and everything. Who knows what they're leading into. What I really wish they would enhance is, wish they would figure out a way to show undercuts and everything.
Ooh, that would be sweet.
That would be so nice. It would be. Nice. Anyhow, all right. I'd love to be able to see if I, if I'm doing a dovetail cut, I'd love to be able to see that dovetail cut and everything, kind of thing. All right, let's see what do we have here. Ron Bishop says, what about if you wanted like 50 or 55 degree chamfer? What type of bit would you use? Well, in the chamfer toolpath, if you're using an angled bit, right, 90 degrees, 60 degree, 22, 15, that kind of thing, it's going to notice how with the 90 degree V bit, notice how the angle is blanked out right here. It's grayed out. I can't change the angle, right? That's going to be the angle. How wide and how deep I cut that angle, it's all based on the bit being used, right? So if I need to do an odd angle that they don't make a bit for it, kind of thing, like a 50 or 55 degree, then the option that they give us is to use a ball nose bit. So if I come in here, you'll notice that ball nose bits are able to be used in your list as well as in that. So I would use a 1/4 inch ball nose. Now notice something that's not showing up here, which is tapered ball nose bits, right? That's a no-no. So only ball nose bits, right? So in the case of this, I would let's say I want, a 1/4 inch ball nose bit. Let me add one in here. I don't have one. 0.25 to flute. Pass depth. That's good. Step over. Now you can change the step over. I like a tight step over. 18,000. 125, 30. All right. So now that I'm using a ball nose, Ron Bishop, notice that my angle is no longer grayed out and I can type in a specific angle. Now, here's the thing. Okay. Based on my start depth, my bit, my angle, I have two options here. I can change the width, how wide it's cutting out, from, the line, how wide, or its depth. These two numbers are kind of tied together, meaning if I take in my depth, and let's say my depth is a 1/2 inch, my width is going to be 0.5959, right? If I'm, 3/4 of an inch, my width is going to be 0.8938, right? It's all, that number will change. If I come in here and change my width, let's say I change my width to 3/8, that's going to change how deep my cut is, right? So it's kind of tied together. It's one or the other. So in my case, I want a 50 degree angle. I want to go a 50 degree angle through my 3/4 inch board, and that's going to base off here. Let's go to the 2D view so you can see what's happening. I'm going to be outward, sloping upward on the outside. Sloping upward. I'm moving outward. Should I say moving outside? Sloping upward. And now I can calculate that tool path. And now because of now notice what just happened here. I want you to see that. Let's do that again. Notice right here about cutting through the material. Now I set the cut depth to 0.75, but to create the end of the angle, the bit tip is round. It's got to go past the round tip to create that flat point of the angle. Otherwise, it would ramp up like a radius, right? You know, the wood. And it needs to be flat all the way to the bottom of the angle. So the bit has to go past that 3/4. So it's saying, hey, you're going to cut 0.779 on your 3/4 inch board, have a waste board in there, blah, 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 because we're cutting, 29 thousandths more than our 3/4, right? So, that's that. Now, what happens here is look at this cut, right? My step over is too big for the ball nose bit. So the step over is that 8% step over. It's great for models and all, but not for this chamfer and everything. So on my step over on this ball nose, I need to really have a pretty tight step over and everything, so that when the cut occurs, oops, come on, goofball. Oh, Lord of mercy. Kicking my butt here. Overcut. Give me a second here. I don't want to overcut by that much. Let's see. What's half of my ball? It's a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch. 0.125. Hold on a second. It's not the overcut. No overcut. Oh. It's my step over. Pass depth. I'm an idiot. With the ball nose bit, it needs shallow passes. It's got to step over and, tight step over, shallow passes to create that cut. I'm going 1/8 of an inch per pass, so it's creating that 1/8 of an inch, it's creating that stair step. So I'm going to step over, I don't know, just pick a number. I'm going to go a 32nd just for right now. And with a 2% step over. This way, with the cut and everything, it'll create that smoother chamfer. Okay. And then we do our profile cutout, preview the visible toolpath, that kind of deal, right? So if you have a weird angle, it's a ball nose bit, but the ball nose bit has to have a small pass step so it gets that, nice, trying to get the smooth chamfer. You can even see it a 32nd inch step over. I still got a little bit of chatter there, but it shouldn't be enough that if I glue this, like a minded friend together, it's not going to hurt anything. But so pass step and step over, right? That kind of thing. So Ron, that's how, you would do an odd angle. Is it needs to be a ball nose. It can't be a V-bit, because the V-bit's going to lock you into the particular angle that you're cutting. All right, great stuff, guys and girls. We got about 5 more minutes. We're going to kind of wrap up. It's 9:55. We started at 8:30, so we're going to wrap up around 10:15. Once I dig into all the enhancements of 12.5, there's a lot of nice little stuff that's going on with a group tool pass and sheets, and there's some new enhancements with sheets and group tool path and things. So I'm looking forward to learning each and every one of them. I just literally downloaded this, like I said, about 2 minutes before the class. So I have not even, you're seeing, I only watched maybe like 5 minutes of Becky's video. and I was running out of time to get the class started, so I didn't get a chance to really look at a lot of stuff. But everything, as I was kind of zipping through, everything, a lot of it is just being able to work in that 3D environment as well as a 2D. With fonts now, your text, with guidelines, with you're selecting things the way you select things, your trimming tools, all that stuff. And the trimming tools, now you can trim in the 3D view as well. When you're in the 3D view and you're looking at your vectors and stuff, you can now come in and trim, and notice when you go to highlight, or when you move over, it shows you the line. It turns the line red. It shows you, what you're trimming to, right? And it shows you where it's going to dead end and all that stuff. So now you can trim in there and everything and stuff. So it's a full, not full yet, but I mean, they're making it more and more and more dynamic in this 3D view and stuff and all. So that's some of the new things. All right, let's see here. JR says, spoil board setup for my 4848. Thinking that I'll make the size 49.75 by 50 1/4. My machine's home position will be set at 0, 0. My work position will be set to 0.25 and 50. Yeah, and so your machine can move 51 by 51, right? It can physically move to that. So imagine if you have a 2-inch end mill, the center of the bit can go 51 to 51, right? So you have a 2-inch end mill, you've got an inch overhang, right, all the way around on that bit. So you could technically go out 52, 52 on that, but your tool path and all be set up for 51, 51, but it can also mill that extra inch. So the numbers you have, 49 3/4 by 50 1/4 is fine, no problem there. Yeah, so
starting to gel.
Yeah, the just think about your machine, your operating movement is 51 by 51, right? It can cut edge to edge on a 48 by 48 board, right? But it can travel 51 by 51. That's kind of its limits, right? So if you went that 50 1/4 or even 50 1/2 or whatever, as long as you're under 51, you're good. Okay. No, Roger. No. Keep asking me about that, and I don't have no answers. I was so disappointed. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet. They're still in production. I did find out that they're going to warehouse them for me, meaning that I only need to order in 200 hats at a time, kind of thing. I had to place the entire order. $3,000 worth and all, but they will hold and they will ship. I can take in 200 lot increments and all that stuff. I don't have to take the whole batch all at once because I work out of my home, so I don't have a big old warehouse for all these hats. But I am hoping, Roger, that it's sooner rather than later, because I really need those sales. I need that money. It's sad but true. I mean, I need to be able to sell everything and anything that I can. So hats, and also I just finished up the design. Not the design, but the reorder on where's it at? On t-shirts, Spindle TV t-shirts. So I'm gonna have medium and large and extra large right now. I don't have any XX large. Yeah, I do. I think last time I went up to double X, it took me a long time to get rid of the X's, but one of the shirts that is just that's my just the symbol with nothing on, just kind of a plain shirt. It matches the hat symbol and everything. I like wearing the two together. But the and then the others, say Spindle TV or Build It TV or whatever. I have both Spindle TV and Build It TV. But I took mine off, so it said, it did say CNC CAD CAM training, Laney Shaughnessy, right? I thought, I don't think anybody wants to wear that. But also, I have some shirts with designs with some, just some funny sayings. We'll see how that goes. That they are making the screens right now, the screen print screens, and so once I get the approval on them, they've printed their shirts and everything. And these shirts I've since 2017, 2018. So this is literally again 2017 shirt, right? So and the print quality, it's still there. But these shirts they're form fitted around the arms and the chest, loose fitting around the gut. So it gives you that kind of like fresh pumped look. It's it'll hide that gut, but it's nice fitting around the chest and the arms and everything. So really nice shirts. I love the shirts. And I didn't get white last time. I got a bunch of whites, and whites didn't sell very well, and they just so I got a lot of the ash gray, and I have a it's kind of it's kind of like a sand camouflage sand. I don't know. It's a not khaki, but it's kind of almost like a tannish color. So we'll see that. All right. That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, check out 12.5 if you purchased version 12.5. Man, beef shirts. Exactly. If you purchase 12.5 probably most likely is part of your upgrade, or you may have to pay for it depending on what version you're currently on. But check out the videos in the bottom of each and every one of your Vectric accounts. 12.5 is out video, and Becky goes over, what's new in your software, and a lot of nice enhancements and everything to the software, and it's getting better and better. Ladies and gentlemen, join me tomorrow night. We will have a class tomorrow night, and hopefully you clicked the link and got the flag downloads. If not, I don't know if the chat stays with the video, like if you're watching after the class. I don't know if the chat stays with the video, so I'll make that link available in the description of that video in case somebody missed it. But JR, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I am concerned about Ron. I hope he's doing well. Ron, if you're out there.
Yeah, he has been quiet.
Yeah, he usually joins us live online. So hopefully health-wise and all, he's doing well. I got to check in on him and everything, see how he's doing. But shout out to Ron. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go grab a bite to eat and something to drink, and we'll see you tomorrow night for class. And then, hey, you might not be interested, but tomorrow on the Digital Woodcarver YouTube channel, on the Spindle TV YouTube channel, and Digital Woodcarver Facebook page. So Spindle TV, Burl Tishner, the owner of Digital Woodcarver, and I are going live at 5:00 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking about Digital Woodcarver's Memorial Day sale. We're going to be demonstrating a couple of things like the Joint Maker jig on the 2440 attachment and our wireless hand wheel, as well as just talking about a couple of machines and stuff and everything. But it's just a discussion, a promotion, talking about the sale that we have going on, and just kind of updates on shows, where we're going to be in the future and stuff, around. If you want to pop in, and all, we'd love the views. And, yeah, come by and say hi. 5:00 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Thursday, tomorrow. We'll be live on this channel, Digital Woodcarver channel, and the Digital Woodcarver Facebook page. All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful evening. JR, take it easy. You have a good evening. And we'll catch you later.
Have a good one.